Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to The Truth. And today we're going to be talking about the Detroit Lions and their free agency. Last year, the Lions went 9-8. That season was really interesting. They were on a big losing streak and then turned it around the second half of the season and really made a push. This season, the Lions were a lot better. I mean, they showed they took a step forward and they took a step forward, and it really showed that the experience from the previous season before helped, and they went 12-5, and that's really good. Like if you can go from 9-8 to 12-5, that's really good. Like a 13-win season is even better. Like you get one more game out of it next season, I think that's a win. I mean, because you're showing progression as well. Um, they have 60. They have about 65 and a half, $66 million in cap space going into this offseason. So they have a lot to play with, but they also have a lot of holes they need to fill. One thing to note though is they did release their starting free safety, Tracy Walker, to save $5.5 million in cap space. So that is something. No, I have added that to my adjustments for everything. But yeah, nothing else. No really big rumors or anything are spreading around with the Lions. But what I do want to talk about is some of the players that they could re-sign. They have 65. They have a lot of cap. They have a lot of cap, and I think they will have to re-sign some players. To they have to re-sign players if they want to be equal with their picks. They do have a lot. Craig Reynolds is not. Peoples Jones is something they could look into. Josh Reynolds, Jerry Jacobs, they could look into re-signing. That's someone they could fill that corner spot. Maybe kind of toughen up that receiver spot. Don't think. Oh yeah, no. Brock Wright, tight end would help. And I don't know. I don't think running back, if they need a running back at all. But no, receiver, tight end, Josh Reynolds, another receiver, and Jerry Jacobs. Those are all guys you could potentially see coming back relatively young. They're not even in their 30s yet. We could see coming back and playing for them. And they have a cap. And I mean, like, look, they re-signed all of these guys. They'd still have a boatload of cap to play with and to move around and do whatever they want with. But getting into the draft, since nothing has happened, here's the draft I went. I was able to address every single starter plus one backup, but there is a lot more backups they need, and I'll get into that after I talk about this. So the first pick, I took guard Graham Burton, 6'6", 315. Um, the one thing with Burton is his arm length, and moving inside would help to maximize his traits. He's very explosive, really physical, can turn. He's flexible, great leverage and awareness. So um, look, he's a really good. He's probably going to be a really good guard in the NFL. Like that is just what it is. He can. I mean, if you really want to, you can kick him out too. But like right now, it's being projected like he is going to be one of the best guards in the draft. But you can kick him out if you do want that flexibility. But yeah, no, Burton with the first pick. The Lions need two starting guards, and I just addressed one of them. With the next pick 61, their second pick, I took Jalen Polk, wide receiver of Washington, 16, 205, fluid, athletic, versatile. He's more of that offensive weapon. Um, he has really um, he's really smart when it comes to stemming from man and zone. Um, he he's really deceptive, and he can create space really well. I think this would be a nice addition to have to help beef up that receiving core for the Lions, because they do need to address it. With the 73rd pick and their third overall pick for the Lions, I took defensive tackle McKinley Jackson out of Texas A&M, 6'2", 235. Look, that Aggies defense was actually really good, and Kinley was really good in the middle. I remember games where it's just like some top tier defenses, like top tier offenses, like LSU, who like they were like they like with that defense they helped stop that run. I was pretty impressed. Um, his stats aren't the best, but he can play. Like he is a smart, good run defender with a nice burst. And he can really be that defensive tackle who he's kind of that later like he's kind of that he can be that third round defensive tackle you put in there and he can be a starter like that he's really good. With pick 92 I chose in the fourth pick for the Lions I chose Javon Bullard, safety out of Georgia, 5'11", 180, a little bit smaller, but he does fill that safety role and he can play the free safety. Look, great safety from Georgia. Later in the draft, safeties really aren't prioritized in the draft. They're kind of falling back more, but I mean, still really good safety. Um, consider how good Georgia's defense was. So I think he can add a lot of experience and a lot of experience from a young, youthful age, and also some ability. So with the next pick, I pick 163, their fifth pick. I chose cornerback MJ Devonshire. Cornerback out of Pittsburgh, 5'11", 179. I took this pick because I could take care of the corner situation, which I do kind of think they will go in free agency to address. Um, it kind of just makes sense, but it is something they need to address. But as the moment, this is where I went. With pick 207, their sixth pick, I took Kyle Hergel, guard out of Boston College, to wrap up the starters and fill in that starting position. Guys like this late in the round, you don't really expect to start, but you can be surprised. You're just really trying to fill those holes at the moment. And then with the last pick, 247, linebacker Luke Raymer, 6'1", 225. Smart linebacker, just needs a couple more things to fix up. But look, this was the draft. Some of the things that they left over that they needed were another linebacker, two more guards, a defensive end, cornerback, two more receivers, a tackle, and a center for backup, for depth, backup/depth. These are just some of the things they need coming into this offseason. And typically, teams don't like to use UDFAs as backups unless they think they really hit on somebody or they are in a real dire situation. But with that being said, there are some free agents on the market when you look at how much cap they have. If I can pull this up, if we go by position, some free agents, Mike Evans could be a guy they go after. I don't know if Odell would necessarily be a guy they go after. I could see Curtis Samuel, Tyler Boyd, maybe even Cedric Wilson, Kendrick Bourne, maybe DJ Chark. That hasn't really turned out well. Maybe you see them go after McCall Hardman to get that speed. Going past receivers, some tight ends they could look at. Noah Fant from Seattle, Mike Gesicki from New England, Gerald Everett from the Chargers, Dalton Schultz from Houston. There are a couple tight ends that could be out there. Hunter Henry. I know they do have a starting tight end, but depth wouldn't also be bad at that position. Like really good depth if they really wanted to go that way. To pick up some depth at defensive tackle, there are some guys. If I can scroll up, maybe like a Josh Neiman from Green Bay, or I'm gonna butcher a lot of these names, or Cameron Fleming from Denver, backup. You could get some backup depth that way. Scrolling back to safeties, you could try to get Darnell Savage. That could be a guy you go after. what are some other safeties that would really fit that mold for them? Can't really tell right now. They don't need a quarterback. Don't need punter. Don't need offensive line. Okay. No, but they could, even if they want to, they could kind of beef up that defensive line if they want to, and go get a guy like Brian Burns and go help up that D line if they wanted to. I'm not saying they will. Some linebackers they could look at. Aziz Al Shair, Frankie Louvu, who wasn't that bad, who was pretty good for the Carolina in that linebacker role. If you want kind of a hybrid, Isaiah Simmons, who's kind of been like trying to work out. He's been interesting. Some more. You could go after maybe a Devin White, a Bobby Wagner, a Devin Bush, Patrick Queen. There are guys who they could go after in the linebacking core. They have relatively good. Some guards. Andres Pete, Cody Whitehair, Kevin Zeitler, Lucas Patrick. There are some guys who they could realistically go after and get. Kind of be saving themselves. Eddie Jackson at free safety they could also get. He is up there more up there in age, so I don't know if you want to get younger. You could go Terrell Edmonds, who's undrafted free agent. Antoine Winfield Jr. You know, there are a lot of options they could go for defensive tackle. You could maybe move Chris Jones into a defensive tackle role, a DJ Reader, a Fletcher Cox. Sheldon Rankins hasn't been too bad either. There are some guys who you could move around and add to this team to really beef up this team. Shoot, you could go get Xavier Howard. There are a lot of guys who the Detroit Lions could get and make this team a lot better and to help them get over the next hump. So, needless to say, the Detroit Lions are a very inspiring team. They're a team who has a very, very bright future as long as they make the right picks and the right decisions. Other than that, thank you all for watching me and tell me, what do you think the Detroit Lions are going to do? You know, I'm really excited to see. Other than that, thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.